Hello, good evening, and a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to the Competitive Speed Series. My name is Frostbreath, or Rob, and it's time for round number 9. We've arrived at long last at Las Vegas. A bit of an odd one out, as per usual. Strange one this track is. And it's probably going to cause quite a lot of chaos, as this is kind of a thing on this track, chaos. And judging by how Qatar ended last week, that is not very unlikely tonight either. Speaking of how things went last week, a change at the top of the standings has happened at long last. FVR has now finally overtaken Team TF10 for that coveted first position. You can see it right there, and they've immediately almost extended the lead to 40 points with that race right there. They finished in a 1-2, while TF10 had an absolutely terrible day. A bit further back down the standings, P3, 4 and 5 are still very close together. There's ET8, NLR and TTM. NLR are now very close to the podium, the defending champions this season. Down below in P6, it's Zenith F1 aka ZNT, then followed by CPI, 20 points, and then 10 points behind CPI, it's ABS. And then of course the let's say both teams in P9 and 10 are very invested in their battle for last place and ninth place. It's EVE versus TGF, 1 point apart after EVE had a, I believe, double point scoring in Qatar tonight. I can indeed see the standings is a little bit of an incorrect thingy going on. It's probably because the format of the picture was different all of a sudden. So let me see if I can quickly increase that for you. There you go. Should be a whole lot better. A whole lot less black screen to go around with. Anyway, we're headed towards the lobby. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Ace. Ace always on it to make sure everything runs smoothly. 19 drivers in. CPI is missing one driver and the other one has retired straight away because I believe that is because of a qualifying ban, a double qualifying ban in fact, that they had to serve. Now they've served one of them, the other one isn't present, so that will not count. Unless he joins in the race, then it might still count. I do not know that. So we will not see any McLarens out there on track at the moment. So let's see how the rest is going to do. One of the Ferraris headed out first. That might be, it's actually Tristan Derbecourt. Never mind, that's the second Ferrari that's coming out. Jeremy Gallagnier, tonight's host as well, is headed out to the track first and foremost. Let's see what he can do as he heads towards turn number 5. There is 17 of those things on this track and plenty of long straights to go with it. One of the DRS zones that just was right there, and the second DRS zone just, of course, after turn number 13. You can see it on the mini-map as well, of course. This part, particularly, very tricky to get right. The curves are quite high, and therefore you can lose a lot of grip easily when trying to negotiate your own car around those corners. So let's see what these teams can bring to the table. Will it be a classic Mercedes and Red Bull fight at the top, aka FVR and TF10, or could some other team try and bring their drivers into the mix, as Jeremy Gallagnier has begun the destruction of the track? And Abdullah Boulaik has left the session. That spells bad news for TGF, who are trying to get back at EVE for 9th place. Any other position looks unlikely for them. It doesn't really matter, it seems, because they are really enjoying the battle in between themselves. Max and Tony should win easily, is what Nathan says in the chat. Hi Nathan, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Tony Richet has joined in for TF10 alongside Max Grosspointer. We haven't seen Max yet driving for the team in this season, in this series at least, yet. So it should be fascinating to see what these two drivers can bring to the table against the FVR drivers of Justin Arts and Alexi Cavero. Justin Arts, of course, became the WRPC Tier 3 champion only a week ago. Time just flies by so fast, doesn't it? Here he is though, Jeremy Gallagnier, on his way first out of everybody, followed by one of the TTN cars. It could be Lighty, it could be Marvin Golm, another new name to the table as well. Purple first, obviously, 25.7. Let's see how he will do through these corners. Staying nicely within the white lines. And then flat out, of course, onwards to the next big straight. Not before hitting turn 12 though, where you want to go back down to at least gear 4 or 3. Let's see which gear this man prefers. It is third gear indeed. Nice cutting of the corner. Whoa! Well, I say that he nearly loses it. A little bit of a scary moment for Jeremy. And that will hurt him throughout the entire straight. That's for sure. Losing it almost at the start of it will definitely hamper your top speed by the end of it. As DRS opens right there. Let's see though what the time is going to be. Could very well be that the Williams behind, and probably the Red Bulls as well, are going to be the time that Jeremy sets right now. We all know that the Frenchman is quite quick. But how quick, we do not know yet. And he's actually very dissatisfied with his lap as he heads in straight away. That means we're switching our attention to Marvin Golm, whose battery has gone below 10%, which means the light will go flashing as well. Across the line, 30.2. Then one of the TF10 drives is actually Tony Richet coming in. There across the line, followed by Max Grosspointer, Tristan Derbycourt in currently second place, and Max the fastest of them all with a 29.5. But he got to switch our attention to one of the FVR drivers. Justin Arts is one of them. His teammate has just slotted in a fourth fastest time, but it is 0.4 of a second clear from Max. Max is really quick. Look at the difference between himself and second place, and looks like Justin Arts can't get any closer either. He's almost 0.7 clear from our provisional pole sitter. So times are coming in quite fast. We're watching EVE's James right here. His teammate Jividar has gone pretty quick. That spells some good news for the EVE team with Jividar in 7th place, 30.2, just behind an FVR driver. That's saying something. James across the line in 13th for now. There is Herman Polyakov, currently going 5th fastest, looking pretty rapid for the defending champions of NLR. And that means only Hugo van Bon is on his way at the moment. He gets through turn 5 right now in his Vija Cash App RB, we should all say, or the V-Carb, whichever you prefer. Let's just call it the ABS car in this series, shall we? Much easier. Already the chat looking pretty lively. I always like to see that. Many people watching what's happening tonight as we are getting closer and closer to the grand finale. And FVR is trying to extend their championship lead. But right now, it looks like TF10 might have the edge with one driver at the very least, as Hugo van Bon invalidates his lap. And he's going to have to try again. So that means we can actually switch our attention to the TGF driver of Abdullah Bulaik. It looks like his teammate Elku is right on it tonight. He's faster than Justin Arts and faster than his main rival Jividar, as Bulaik hit the wall right there. 25.8 in the first sector. That's about a 10th slower than Jeremy Gallagnier was. But we do not know his lap time as he went back into the pit lane straight away. Looks like Abdullah is not having the greatest of times at the moment. A bit of a struggle here and there. And Max is retired. I'm not entirely sure why he did that. He's retired in the pit lane, so he's definitely not crashed. I think he feels confident with his lap time. And it's not entirely surprising because he's well ahead of the driver in second place. It is Lighty at the moment, 29.8. Max has ego retired. I think that might be the correct description there, Nathan, for his for the reasoning behind it. Abdullah then approaching turns 14, 15, 16. Very tricky as well. Flat out through 16 if possible. And then just turn 17 remaining, which is just a very slight left-hander right here. Try to cut it as much as possible. Is Abdullah doing it? Yes, he does. 30.2. Looks like TGF is looking very lively tonight. And that they definitely need in the fight for 9th place. Fascinating how such a battle for such low positions can be riveting. Jeremy Gallagnier, I believe Hugo van Bon is... I'm not sure if he's trying again or is he going for an in-lap. I think he's going to go for an in-lap right there. His battery light's flashing, so whatever the lap time is, it's not going to be that fast. At the moment, McKenna for ET8 is the slowest of the lot with a 30.7, which is well over a second clear from provisional pole. But he's on an outlap at the moment, trying to at least beat James to P15. But there's, of course, still Jeremy Gallagnier, and Hugo van Bon is actually going to try and post a lap time as well. No, never mind that. Looked at least for a moment on the minimap that he was going to. Yeah, Domizi, you're absolutely right. TGF not doing bad tonight. There they go, Jeremy Gallagnier. Oh, he gets awfully close to Max Grosspointer. It might be that Max now might be regretting his decision to retire that early. because already Jeremy Gallagher is nearly there. I feel like Max would have probably had a lot more in the tank, considering his early retirement anyway. His teammate though, Tony Richer, is quite far behind him at the moment, sitting in P12 only, and both FVR drives ahead of him. Both of them also on an out lap, and Tony Richer just started his out lap, I believe. Well, yeah, that's one of the Mercedes behind. It's Alexi Cavero hunting him down, or at least he's trying to. The difference between these drivers, 30.3 and a 29.9, is about 3.5 tenths of a second. So there is some time to find for the both of them. Marvin Golm then retiring from the session. Or left the session actually, never mind, I was a bit confused there. 2 tenths quicker already. Tony Richer in the first sector, that's already one of the errors. Might have been a lock-up there, but the car looks quite stable. This game really has a fondness for showing other drivers locking up while they don't, which causes a lot of smoke when you're driving yourself. Very confusing and distracting. And a little bit confusing when spectating. Not as much as driving it though. Second sector, Tony Richer. Can he get closer to his teammates? Almost 4 tenths quicker now through sector 2. They need to be on top of their game. They need to beat FVR to keep their eyes on the trophy of this season, because those are the teams that are battling for it. But ZNT appears to be in the mix for pole position as well, and TTM aren't out of it either, with Lighty going very fast at the moment. But it's first and foremost Tony Richer, and it looks like Alexi Cavero has closed the gap an awful lot. Seems hunting down is working quite nicely. It looks like Alexi is going to be a lot faster, but he breaks off his lap. Might have invalidated it then. Here comes Tony Richer across the line. Ooh. 8 tenths slower. That might explain why the Ferrari came an awful lot closer. As Tristan Debecourt goes a lot quicker. Now at a 29.7, and ZNT are looking stronger and stronger. Lighty has abandoned his lap. So has Alexi Cavero, of course. Justin Arts is still on his way, a 10th quicker at the moment. I see one of the ABS cars about to cross the line. That's Richard Koenig. We haven't seen him either for the team in all the season. A lot of drivers abandoning their laps. That's interesting. Is Givardar doing the same then? Yes, he is. What about James? Is he going to finish it? He was actually going to finish it. As he crosses the line and goes to a 30.3. 2.5 tenths quicker. Stays 15 fastest. Then Justin Arts. Championship winner. Improves just barely, but stays 9th fastest. We do know that Justin really isn't a qualifying man. And tonight doesn't look to be the moment either. What he is good at, though, is cutting his way through the field and staying out of trouble. So there might be some hope for FVR in the race with this man, as his teammate is currently sitting in 5th. But then again, that's barely a 10.5 difference between P5 and P9. For now, though, Max Gross-Pointer remains at provisional pole. Jeremy Gallagher has gotten closest of all. He's currently on another outlap, aggressively warming his tires, it appears. Alexi Cavero behind on another outlap with 6.5 minutes remaining. Never mind, it's Alexi Cavero. Or is it? No, it's actually Justin Arts in a hurry. Back on his way to the pit lane. So, who can get closer to Max? There's currently just under 200ths of a difference between first and second place. But keep in mind that first position has done the attempt on the first one. The first possible hot lap. And Jeremy Gallagher's hot lap is being done by the second attempt. By which time, of course, the track has already warmed up. Let's watch Elku for a bit. Again, TGF looking very strong, 8th and 12th at the moment. And one of their drivers has beaten an FVR driver for now. Elku through sector 3 right now. But his battery eye is flashing. I'm not sure if he's currently on a hot lap. Looks like his DRS has gone open. It's always a little bit difficult to judge from a spectator point of view. Looks like at least through those corners he was pushing. All Elku has to do now is cross the line, but it looks like he's actually gonna go in. Might have just set his whole hot lap already then. Someone we do know hasn't set a lap time yet in this attempt is Jeremy Gallagher. 33 milliseconds faster, and that means at the moment at least he's on course for provisional pole. Let's see if he can beat it then. Will we see another team on pole position tonight instead of the familiar faces? 67 milliseconds quicker through Sector 2. It's still faster than Max was on his one and only attempt at the start of this qualifying. 4.5 minutes remain. If Jeremy Gallagher finishes his lap, he might not have enough time for the final attempt. But this is technically his third one already. The third out of a maximum of 4 attempts, because you get 4 sets of soft tires, and of course the lobby gets reset after qualifying since collisions are off to prevent any slipstreaming, and especially on this track that would have been very overpowered indeed. Let's see then across the line. He does beat Max Grosspointer to provisional pole and goes up to a 29.4. Somebody else who could potentially beat it is Lighty, who's currently about 700s quicker than his previous attempt. That's not nearly enough. But he could try and be faster than Alexi Cavero. Alexi Cavero is currently sitting in 4th place. So Lighty has got it all to beat right there. Could he bring his team into the mix for pole position though? That's the big question. He needs to find a lot of time for that. Almost 4 tenths. He's going to abandon this one and head straight back into the pit lane. Next driver to cross the line, Richard Koenig. Is he going to finish this attempt then? Last time we watched, he went back into the pit lane. There he goes. He's going to go across the line at 30.1 in P11. ABS not looking that great tonight, to be fair. Hugo van Bon still hasn't set the lap time. Richard is sitting in 11th only. And Abdullah has retired, I believe, in the pit lane. Has improved to 9th place. Well done. Yeah, TGF, both cars in the top 10. That's incredible. A somewhat rare sight indeed. James is going to have to find some time. If you can find 0.3 of a second, he'll definitely improve a lot and take 10th place from Justin Arts. His teammate currently sitting in P12. EVE not looking that bad either. It's ET8 and ABS that are surprisingly off the pace, especially the Haas cars of ET8. Are not at all where they are supposed to be, especially in the fight for 3rd place. Dallin McTeer and McKender need to find a lot of lap time. They'll get one more attempt though. Less than 2.5 minutes remaining. The pit exit is going to be very busy now. Everybody's coming out, as you can see. There's one of the Haas cars. The other one has already left it. No, never mind. It's vice versa, as Jeremy Gallagher is retired in the pit lane. He doesn't have time left to get back out. And Dallin McTeer is going to cut it very close. 2 minutes remain, and he just exited the pit lane. Should be doable. Not impossible, that's for sure. As Richard Koenig comes into the pit lane and has already completed his last attempt. Somebody else is coming out. That's surprising. That's Justin Arts. Very late. 1:45 remains, and he just exits. He's gonna have to hurry like mad. Warm the tires like crazy. Let's see if he can do that. So, first driver to start the final attempt is actually James for EVE. 16th at the moment, and not that far off 14th, nor 12th in fact, which is his own teammate. 30.3, and for P10 he's got a 30.1 to beat, which isn't that far off either. So EVE potentially could also look at a very strong night against their rivals for 9th place in the standings. But he's got to complete the lap first. Very tricky around Las Vegas right here. First sector, what's the improvement? No, it's not an improvement at the moment. 28 milliseconds slower. Turns 6 through 9. Very tricky and invalidation. That's a shame. James's position will be 16th at best, and he could look at the back of the grid if McKender and Hugo van Bon improve. Especially Hugo, I expect to go a lot higher up there than that. That means one of the Red Bulls is coming up next, and obviously that is Tony Richet, currently still only 14th fastest. We know he can do a lot better than that, unless Las Vegas is a track he really doesn't like. That might explain at least something, but we'll have to see at the end of the second sector what the lap time is going to be. Half a second quicker, that's more like it. That's a bit more the Tony Richet we all know. And this could mean he could get closer to supporting his teammate who's sitting at the front row now. But with many drivers on their way, that could become a bit lower. Tony Richet's got no choice. He's got to be fast. Jivadar, I believe, is behind him. James has finished his attempt as he invalidated. Here he goes, Tony Richet, round the final corner. What's it going to be for the TF10 driver? 29.7, all the way up from 14th to P3, right behind his teammate. But there's many drivers coming up next. Jivadar's next in line to set another lap time. Tim Tonima or Herman Polyakov is next. One of the NLR drivers behind this man. Oh, invalidation! A bit of a poor exit right there for Jivadar. That's a shame. Tim Tonima then to try and improve from 7th. The 4th row at the moment. Ooh, a bit of front wing flying off there. Not sure what happened to Jivadar. He retired at the pit lane entry. And Tim Tonima improves, but doesn't improve in position. Lighty goes up to 3rd position right there. What's the Haas drivers going to do then? It's McKender crossing the line, going a bit faster, but not enough. There is Dallin McTeer saving a bit of face for the ETA team. Hugo van Bon goes up to P12. Elku finishes and stays in 10th fastest for now. Herman Polyakov stays in 8th fastest. What's Alexi Cavero and Justin Arts going to do? Justin improves to 7th. Alexi Cavero next across the line. He abandons the attempt. And that means Jeremy Gallagher is quite safe. And ZNT takes an extraordinarily 1-3 for the team in qualifying. A brilliant job by them. And it looks like, at least in qualifying pace, they are the team to beat. TF10, 2nd and 5th. That is good news for them because both drivers finished ahead of the championship leading team with Alexi Cavero and Justin Arts in only P6 and 7. And then there is Lighty all alone for his team in 4th place with his teammate Marvin Golm all the way down in 16th place. ZNT might take home the win tonight. It all depends on how Max Grosspointer is going to do it in the race. And Tony Richet right behind there in P5. Here, confirmation then. It's Jeremy Gallagher on pole, Max Grosspointer 2nd, Tristan Derbicourt in 3rd, Lighty in 4th, Tony Richet P5, Alexi Cavero P6, Justin Arts in 7th, Tim Tonimo P8, Herman Polyakov in P9, and then Dallin McTeer for ETA in P10. Then both TGF drivers just out of the top 10 now with Elku and Abdullah Bulaik, Hugo van Bon and Ilja Kunik for ABS, Jivadar, Marvin Golm, James McKender, and then for CPI, the one and only driver, Jeslar, with the qualifying ban now served, starting from the back of the field. FVR is gonna still win. He's going to crash into a wall. That's a nasty prediction. Already the predictions are coming in the chat. Tim Tonima is gonna cook. He's got negative qualifying pace. That's another interesting observation. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait for the lobby to get reset. We all know the collisions are off. They'll have to be turned on again. That could also mean the weather is going to change. Now, I haven't seen a lot of rain in Las Vegas yet, mostly because it's in Nevada, and Nevada is a very dry US state. So, rain is extremely unlikely. And of course, there's this interesting starting setup. They're in a corner. The final corner is where they start. It's always an interesting point of view from this camera angle, especially. Quite like to see it, as several drivers crash out before turn 1 even happens. Some of them just decide to go straight on. This is, of course, the funny thing about the lobby getting restarted. It's always a match of who retires first and who decides to last the longest. Right now, it's Tristan deciding to go all the way to turn 5. There was one of the EVE cars sliding around with 3 wheels. And there he goes, Herman Polyakov doing the exact same thing. And that was a quick retirement from everybody. Well done. I hope not everybody's going to leave the session, because that's not supposed to happen. Either way, it does allow us to have a little bit of a closer look at the standings. Because we went live quite close to the start time. Meaning we couldn't really have a proper look at the standings. We can see it right there. That is 36 points of a difference between FVR and TF10. That's quite the gap they formed since last race. They were 19 points behind, and they scored a 1-2, while TF10 barely scored. I believe they didn't even score anything at all, with Ryan Grob being demoted very far behind them because of penalties, speeding in pit lane penalty being one of them, meaning he took a 10-second penalty to his name, and with the ending chaos being there in the final few laps, he lost a lot of positions at the finish line. Then, of course, his teammate retired quite early, so that was even worse for TF10. And then, as you can see, ET8 sitting in third right there and having a nightmare qualifying tonight, to say the least. With one driver at least trying to get into the top 10, successfully doing so with Danny McTeer, but McKenna is on the back foot and is not looking great for a potential good finish. Then NLR have a perfect opportunity with two drivers well into the top 10. Of course, Tim Ternimo and Herman Polyakov have done a great job trying to get back into the mix for third place, and they're only 11 points behind. And with their main rival ET8 on the back foot, they could definitely seize their opportunity here and at least save something from the season, because they were the defending champions, and at the moment, with almost 150 points behind P1, it's looking extremely unlikely, even though it's technically possible, to win the championship. Then TTM only 2 points behind NLR at the moment, and with Lighty starting in, fourth, they have got a good shot at points as well, and they are not that far off third place either, only 13 points behind ET8. Then ZNT, they've got the best shot at third place tonight. There is 25 points in it to go up 3 places in the standings. That's how close it is at the moment in between those teams. And they've got pole position as well as third place on the grid. So they are looking very, very strong to score incredible loads of points tonight. They'll be very happy with that one. Their driver's doing a great job. Then CPI, they're going to potentially struggle. They've first and foremost got one driver, and that one driver is starting at the back of the field. So let's see what Jeslar can do from behind in 19th and last place. Then there is ABS, a bit of a struggle for them tonight as well. 10 points behind CPI. But believe it or not, everybody from third all the way down to 8th has a shot at that third position. Because if you can see it, from 3rd to 8th place, the difference is 55 points. Now that, at first glance, it seems a lot, but remember, first place in a race like this scores you 35 points. And that could mean something incredible. But ABS will have to put their foot down to pedal to the metal, so to say, and make up all of those positions in the race. Then, of course, the fight for 9th and 10th between EVE and TGF, especially TGF looking very strong tonight. EVE had a very poor last attempt at their qualifying position, so they're starting a bit further back, but not that far off either, so they could be intertwined in a very tough battle for some points, multiple points in fact, for tonight. Especially TGF seems to have found the way upwards. Last week, they had some drivers well into the points, but a bit of bad luck. EVE, same thing actually. They were starting to find the way up as well. I'm afraid, though, for any position higher than 9th, it's too little too late. Maybe next season. Do let me know in the chat who you think is going to win, which team that is. We see some people saying that NLR is going to win tonight. Either Tim or Harman is going to take the victory according to Nordic Ninja. Timmy probably agreeing. FVR not even on the podium. That's a wild prediction. Denico going for ET8. Max could win with one hand. Let's find out if he can do that. He's starting in 2nd place right now, but he's only done 1 attempt. So, yeah, Jeremy could be in trouble. He's only barely a 10th quicker than Max was in his first attempt. Jeremy went to a 29.4 in his 3rd attempt, I believe it was. We are almost double the points ahead of NLR. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for NLR to take the crown again, twice in a row. Would have been an incredible achievement in such a series anyway. Who wins tonight? The poll results there. As you can see, 30 votes with 36% going to another team. That's fascinating. FVR getting 26% of the votes, TF10 20%, and ZNT 16%. Well, we're going to find out, because we are headed to the track once again. 25 laps coming up. Let's hope the collisions have been turned on. I've seen one instance where it had gone wrong completely. We had to restart another time. So, not a lot of people having faith in ZNT taking the win. Nor do they have a lot of faith in TF10, despite Nathan Richards saying otherwise. I'm curious which team they mean with another team. Could be TTM with Lighty, perhaps. Could be NLR then. Maybe they've brought a lot of NLR drivers to vote. I do not know. Well, there we go. Dylan Ray, for example, also going for NLR. Ruby is going for TGF. That's a long shot, but it would be incredible for them to win a race in a season which has been a struggle for them mostly. It'd be quite impressive to see them win a race by the tail end of the season. Round 9 out of 12 here in Las Vegas next week. Do not forget Mystery Grand Prix. And then 2 more rounds to go to finish it off in Japan. Drivers fixing their setup, making sure everything is in order. Then picking, of course, a tire strategy. I'm curious to see which one the drivers are going to try out. I've seen several drivers opting for a soft tire strategy in a race like this. So I wouldn't be surprised if anybody's going to try it, especially the backmarker teams, who haven't got an awful lot to lose anyway. I mean, 9th or 10th in the standings doesn't really make a difference, other than a bit of honor, I suppose, because the prize pool goes all the way down to P5, and not lower than that. And of course, there's this driver's prize for the best driver in the season, but then again, many teams bring in different drivers each race, so that is pretty much a bit of a tiny bonus for whoever driver finishes with the most points by the end of it. Can't remember from the top of my head who it is, but I believe it's a driver we haven't seen for a while, Mark Schluter. We haven't seen him since Spa. That's where he changed from ET8 to TF10. From the Haas to the Red Bull. He's done an extraordinary job so far. Raced every race up until that point, and now we haven't seen a lot of him, unfortunately. Thank you, Ace, for confirming that Mark is still leading. Just shows how consistent he is. There we go then. The lights are coming on right now. We can see 3, 4, 5 red lights with Jeremy from pole, Max in second place. Who's going to come off best in turn 1? Off we go for round 9. Looks like Jeremy got off the line well, but Max Gross Pointer. Oh, we got a poor start. There goes Tristan Derbicourt trying to go around the outside, but Max makes his Red Bull as wide as possible, and at least for now stays ahead of Tristan, but Tristan is starting on the medium tires, spelling trouble for the Red Bull indeed. Taliti stays in P4, Alexi Covero and Tony Richet fighting out for P5, and Lighty might be in trouble as well, but there goes Tony Richet ahead of Alexi Covero up into 5th place. There's the other Mercedes of Justin Arts fighting with Tim Tornimo for P7. Tim Tornimo is going to try and live up to the expectations of the chat right there. Moving up 1 place already, 6 more to go, and he will be in 1st position. But we've got to switch our attention quickly to the tire strategy. Looks like ZNT have opted, both of them have opted for the medium tires. Both TF10 cars have opted for the hard, as have pretty much everybody else except James for EVE, who is currently in 16th. Jeslar's had a brilliant start as well, up to 14th from last place already, and Jividar's tumbled down the order to last place. Terrible news for EVE, as TGF are both in the points at the moment. The battle for the lead, at least for now, appears to have ceased a little bit, because Jeremy Gallier is easily driving away on those medium tires from Max Gross Pointer for now. And Tristan Derbicourt is very close to overtaking him. I think Max might have gotten a warning from that corner right there. And there comes Tristan Derbicourt. He wants to back up his teammate ASAP. And he's got to do it at the inside of the final corner. And Max lets him go. He knows fighting him too hard will not benefit either of them, especially himself, as he's still got a feisty Lighty behind as well. And we know the Williams driver is quite feisty, as Jividar gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. His race has gone from bad to absolutely hell. He's probably gotten some damage then, somewhere on the first lap. And now EVE even in more trouble, but now ZNT, interestingly, leading 1 and 2. Question is, who's going to attack next? Alexi Cavero is getting closer and closer to Tony Richer. He's definitely on it. His main rival right now ahead. Both TF10 drivers are stronger still than the FER drivers. Justin Arts sitting in 9th, still waiting patiently for anybody to make a mistake or for the opportunity to present itself to him. As you can see, the possible race strategies right there. I don't think there's going to be a 2-stop. That would be very unlikely. Nor does it show which strategy it would be from the hards to the mediums, which pretty much everyone has chosen except for ZNT and James. Max Rose Pointer, by the power of Slipstream and DRS and some race pace, it seems, has closed the gap already to Tristan Derbycourt. He can't seem to get away from the TF10 driver. And I'm watching the timings carefully to see which overtake is coming up. That's Justin Arts for sure. Nearly having a go at Herman Polyakov for 8th position. Just a bit too far back. And on his turn, Hugo von Bonn nearly had a go at Justin as well. Lap 3. Jeremy Gallagnier, Tristan Derbycourt, in fact, with the fastest lap of the race. The ZNT drivers will have to work together in perfect sync and will have to execute a perfect race strategy to beat TF10. Now, in terms of race strategy, we do know TF10 are a little bit vulnerable. We saw it happen in Spa a few weeks ago, where their race strategy was far from ideal. Caused both of their drives to lose connection to FER, which then finished in a 1-2, where TF10 finished 3rd and 4th. And then, of course, Qatar happened, where everything completely unraveled for them. Now, though, they look to be back on top of their game. The Red Bulls are pretty much in the front of the field. They're currently being split by a lone TTM driver of Lighty, with Marvin Golm already behind the pack. James is now the last of this very, very long group of 16 drivers. Let's have a little look at the timing board right there. Looks like Max Rose Pointer is awfully close to Tristan Derbycourt on his turn. He's probably going for a swap with his own teammates, and it looks like Max might try and take that position as well. Here comes Tristan Derbycourt and Jeremy Gallagnier. What's Max going to do? He decides to stick behind and save his battery for now, which might be a smart move indeed. Of course, Tristan and Jeremy are not going to fight each other. That would be insane. But he don't care in the slightest about this Drivers' Championship. LLR are also together. They are splitting the FER cars, so Justin Art's got a job to do to get to his teammate. He's got 2 Aston Martins in the way, at least for now. Something he probably doesn't really want for too long. That means he's got to hurry up. 3 full laps completed already. And Max Grosspointer is putting on the pressure now to both ZNT cars. 4 laps gone, and already appears to be slightly quicker than them. Could this be a walk through the park for Max, as several people in the chat have predicted? We'll have to find out by the second stint. That's where he'll be on the quicker tires, and Jeremy and Tristan will be on the slower ones, but they'll pit earlier, which means they'll technically place an undercut. But look at this! Max is pretty much pushing the second Ferrari through the corners. Jeremy has lost all race pace. Max should be careful not to damage his front wing by being that close to the Ferrari. And already people are wondering when the safety car is coming out, but at least for now, it looks like the racing is very clean. But I might have just jinxed it, because we all know I'm really good at that. And there goes Max Grosspointer. Is he going to go for a move for the lead as well? Well, it looks like ZNT are making both Ferraris as wide as possible. Max has got nowhere to go, other than around the outside. He's actually waved a little hand there, probably to Jeremy Gallagnier, saying, well, you can try to make your Ferraris as wide as possible. I'm not going to allow you to get through. And now Lighty is going to try and get past and successfully do so. Past one of the Ferraris. Nearly past the Red Bull as well. In fact, Max had to go defensive against the Williams there as Lighty moves up into the podium places. A mighty offense there by Max against the powerhouse that was ZNT. And now they've been split by 2 cars already, with Tony Richer now knocking on Gallagnier's door. While Alexi Cavero stays behind for a little bit. Or is he? Because there he is on Tony Richer, getting awfully close. They've been this close throughout all race so far. Even if it is only 5 laps. He is keeping Tony Richer on edge, that's for sure. hoping to force him into the tiniest mistake, which around this track can cost you a lot of time, as the walls are very, very close. Which move is then going to happen next? Elku is barely holding on to the top 10 right there. He might soon become the leader of a smaller group that he doesn't really want to be. Because he's actually lost DRS coming out of turn 12. And that means the top 10 is now separated, being separated from the rest of the field. There comes Jeremy Gallagher on Lighty. Perhaps Max as well. Lighty's going to try around the outside to defend his position, and he does so successfully. And that means Jeremy got another bad exit out of the 16th corner right there, allowing Tony Richet to close up. But where is he going to go? Around the outside or the inside? It's going to be very close into turn 1. There's Jeremy Gallagher on Lighty as well. He wants to get back ASAP. He knows his tires have a much more limited lifespan than those hards. But he can't find a way past this exceptionally wide Williams. And there is Tony Richet again. Oh, there comes Max, and a bit too feisty. A late lunge and nearly costing himself the race. Allowing Lighty to ghost right through it, but Max is not going to give up that position, or actually does, and wisely so. I wonder if that might have damaged Max's car, but it was a bit too enthusiastic, I'm afraid. And Tristan might have been caught by surprise by Max's move. And now he's got a Williams in between himself and the Red Bull. Now then, onto the back straight again. Tristan all the way to the left of the track, going defensive as much as possible. Now Max under threat from the other ZNT driver, who's probably going to wag a finger at him as he tries to get past. There he goes! Max going as defensive as possible. What's Lighty going to do? Is he got Jeremy Gallagher going retake second place? He does! 2 cars in one go! A round of applause for Jeremy Gallagher as he gets from 4th to 2nd in the span of a few hundred meters. But there is Lighty, who isn't going to yield that easily. A bit of wheel banging, and Max trying to come back at them as well. Is he going to go for a dive at both of them in turn 1? No, just one. And Jeremy Gallagher back down in 4th. Max pushing him a bit wide. There is Tony Richet as well. Already the gloves are off. We're barely at the halfway point in the race, and already they're fighting for positions as if it's the final few laps of the race. It's absolutely wild what's going on there. There's Tony Richet on the inside of Jeremy Gallagher, side by side. Can this go properly? It can. And there is Alexi Cavero too, trying to take Tony Richet and Jeremy Gallagher. Wow, look at that. That is how you do it without contact. And Alexi Cavero takes 2 of them into turn 7. That's a rare overtaking opportunity there. But Alexi Cavero putting up a masterclass of overtaking. He caught both of them by surprise. And Jeremy and Tony down to 5th and 6th right there. Goodness me, Alexi Cavero. A heroic move, and still within DRS range. And within a shot of the podium. It's what FVR needs. Justin Arts has actually lost the position to Hugo von Bonn. Again, some more offensive moves are going to come here. It's Jeremy Gallagher getting back past Alexi Cavero. What's Alexi going to do? If he's going to try and defend, he's going to do it around the outside, but he can't. As Jeremy braked just a little bit later. Now Tony Richet right on the tail of the Mercedes again. The racing all incredibly close. Scary and a little bit dangerous here and there. There we see Justin Arts weaving, trying to get past Hugo von Bonn, who has overtaken him up into 9th place. We see Jeslar on the edge of the top 10 as well. He's managed to close the gap and take LQ with him. The top 3 have got a little bit of a gap to Jeremy Gallagher right there. It seems like those mediums have gotten past their peak already. Not surprising. That means Jeremy and Tristan are going to struggle. Lighty's getting awfully close. Look at that. He's having a little bit of a look. He doesn't want to get past here, though. Because then you'll be suffering from having no DRS on the back straight, which is coming up right now. DRS detection zone, though, only halfway at the point of this long straight. Technically, this is turn 13 right there. Max is back in business, trying to reclaim the lead. Or claim the lead, actually. He hasn't had it yet. Not yet. Lighty's gonna do it now. Max Gross Pointer is going to try it as well. No, he sticks behind for a little bit longer. Now is within a ZT sandwich. Even though ZT is far away from the lead in the championship, they do want the optimal result here tonight. Fighting for third in the standings. And there is Alexis Cavero and Tony Richet going at it again. There goes Alexis Cavero on the inside of the Frenchman. Can they keep it clean? That's the question. They can for now. They go side by side at the exit of turn 4. Who's going to go faster right there? Looks like, at least for now, Tony Richet's got the edge. And Alexis lets him go. While we're watching these fights unfold at the front, we can of course see in the timing sheets that at the back of the field several moves have been made as well. Currently, Jeslar trying to chase down Justin Aerts for that top 10 spot. That would be a nightmare for FVR. They scored 2 1-2s in a row. At the moment, that seems very unlikely. Their main rivals have the edge. They're still driving around 3rd and 5th at the moment, as opposed to FVR's 6th and 10th. Pretty much a turnaround from what we've seen last week. There comes Max, once again on Jeremy Gallagher. Both of them getting DRS on Lighty. What's Lighty going to do? There goes the Red Bull of Max Gross Pointer, probably a bit too far back to make the move. Yes, he is. Tim Tornimo in the meanwhile trying to get past Alexis Cavero. The man who made the brilliant move, now again under threat from the LR drivers, the both of them in fact, but there is Jeremy Gallagher bailing out of the fight, going for the hard tires on lap 10. Or technically at the start of lap 11, there he goes. He'll get some clear air here as well, which will allow him to make up some ground and probably reclaim the lead as once the rest is pitted. But then again, it also means that by the point the other guys are pitted, they'll all be on the mediums and a lot faster. Really depends on how long they take to catch the ZT drivers, on how things will look for victory. ZT has been struggling. Might explain why they pitted a little bit early. So far an extraordinary race between many teams in fact for the win, instead of the familiar 2. It's TTM, TF10, ZNT, FVR, NLR, and potentially ABS with Hugo van Bon, who keeps climbing up. And now it's Max putting on some proper pressure on the Williams right there. Lighty probably can't really do anything here to defend from the Red Bull. And I think Tristan is going to pit, allowing Tony Richet to get past as well. And that means the TF10 drivers can finally work together, driving behind one another. But there goes Max Gross Pointer. And Tristan Derbecourt as well, to take second place as Max takes the lead in the race. Lighty tried to have a little bit of a look back at second place, couldn't do it. Probably knows that Tristan is going to bail out right there. There he goes, to the left of the track. Into the pit lane he goes as well. We'll soon know how well the undercut has worked for Jeremy. He's just gotten past James. A bit of traffic on his way. Not very ideal, to be fair. That might have held off his charge for the lead of the race a little bit. Looks like James didn't really make much of an issue right there in the fight for 16th. There is Jeremy Gallagher. Justin Derbecourt just exited the pit lane, and the difference is already a second. 1 second. That's the undercut right there. It's only going to bet more and more. But these guys will have to stay out a bit longer, because if they go in now, their Venus will be absolutely shot by the end of the race. Vegas is all about last laps anyways. That's very true indeed. And your position as well. Do you want to be in first position at this back straight with a gap of about half a second? Probably not. Any bigger than that? Then maybe, depending on how much battery you have remaining. Lighty trying to hold on to Max as Tony Richet now puts on the pressure to the Williams car. And soon we might see a TF10 1-2. Unless somebody's got to say something about it. There goes Tony Richet on Lighty. Is Lighty going to defend? Yes, he is around the outside, but Tony Richet closes the door. And Lighty will have to take third position, or is he though? Because he tried to still go around the outside, allowing Alexei Kavir to get past the both of them. There comes the FVR driver on their main rivals, trying to claim second place. And a crucial move potentially for Justin Arts as well. On Hugo von Bon, he's gotta make the moves, but he still can't get past the Frenchman in the ABS car. Hugo's RB car is extraordinarily wide, maybe even wider than Lighty's Williams. And Justin, frustrated, still behind von Bon right there. Having a look everywhere he can. And now he's going to go around the outside. Is he going to do it then? Another extraordinary move from an FVR driver. And there he goes. Or is he? Because Hugo, while Justin is doing some extraordinary driving, so is Hugo. And now he finally yields. An extraordinary defense there from Hugo von Bon against Justin Arts. And he's finally had to yield. But it took him a long time to let that position go. Hugo von Bon trying to save some points for ABS. His teammate Richard Koenig still hanging around 11th. And there they go. Alexei Cavero has gotten past Tony Richer. And he's quickly closing the gap to Max Grosspointer as well. There comes Tony Richer though. No, nowhere to go. Alexei Kavarov can't find a way past Max either. And that means the TF10 defensive system remains online. There comes Tinter Nemo, the first of the hard tire users to come in already. Although it's not very surprising, they're very close to their pit lap anyway. And Tinter Nemo is going to try a massive undercut on the hard tire users. To try and take what is for now third position, because Jeremy and Tristan have definitely done several laps of undercuts. Looks like Tristan is not able to keep up with Jeremy. 1.6 seconds now between the ZNT drivers. And they've got a long way to go till the end on those hards. Max nearly getting too far into the corner right there. Outbraking himself almost. Now, Tinter Nima, I can see, has come out behind Marvin Golm, which is not ideal. He's going to have to overtake him ASAP, otherwise he's going to lose too much time to the ZNT cars. And he's stuck behind him in the middle sector, which is even worse. What's going to happen here, though? Alexei Cavero going a bit wide. Max Grosspointer going to the inside of the lane. There's technically 4 lanes on this track, as you can see right there. No moves there yet though. Tinter Nemo in a hurry gets past Marvin Golm. Just before or after the DRS detection zone, I wonder. It's after, before, oh dear. Or after actually. That's not good. It means Marvin can try and come back at him, but he wisely decides not to do that. Or maybe he should have, because he could have helped out his teammate there massively. Lighty is fighting for the win as well, and therefore fighting against Tim. But Marvin decided not to mess around with the NLR driver. This group, though, still intact. 6 drivers now remain. Of the original, what was it, 10 or 11, fighting for the win. There goes Jeremy Gallagher on Dallin McTeer. Dallin McTeer, of course, not making much of an issue of that move. He knows the tire strategy is completely different for him. And the next driver to come up behind is Tristan Derbecourt, who loses more and more time to Jeremy. Looks like for ZNT, Jeremy is their hope for the win. Tristan is no longer up for it. Seems to have lost some race pace on the hard tires. And you can already start to see Tim Tornima appearing in his rear view mirrors. Now I start to wonder if Tim Tornima hadn't stopped a bit too early. Next up, Herman Polyakov and Jeslar now stuck behind Marvin Golm. Now what's Marvin going to do here then? Whoop, he's slowing down a little bit, trying to get DRS. He probably is going to get it from Herman right there. And Jeslar too. Jeslar could throw in a spanner of the works of NLR right there for CPI. And the McLaren team badly needs it. There they both go with DRS. Marvin Golm getting past as well. Crucial for TTM and NLR there that he does that. Lighty is now pitting for his soft tires. Same goes for Tony Richet, Justin Arts, Abdullah Bulaik as well. Not sure what happened to Hugo van Boon though. He's only 3 seconds behind the top 2. Probably made a mistake somewhere. That's not good for the Frenchman as he tried to claim a victory there for the team. That's a little bit more out of reach now. Unless a safety car comes out right now, his race will be saved then. Same goes for Dylan McTeer. Will make up a lot of places. Now 2 drivers of the original group remain. Max Grosspointer, Alexi Covero going very long on those hards. Trying to get the freshest tires by the end. Tim Turnimo already under pressure from Tony Richet as Givardar retires in the pit lane. He thinks a safety car is not going to happen anymore and is out of the race now. 1 EV driver down is probably what the TGF drivers are thinking as they've gone to the fresh mediums. And will soon both be in the points again as they chase down Richard Koenig. What's going to happen here though? That's the question. Looks like Alexi and Max are coming in now. Position swaps happening. Tony Richet taking the position from Tim Turnimo. Looks like Tim didn't really fight it that hard. Saw him coming from miles away. Probably knows Tony at the moment is a little bit faster. And now at least he'll have DRS on the next straight. And there's Lighty as well. Don't count him out just yet. Several drivers coming out of pit lane as well. There's Alexi Cavero crucially staying ahead of Tony Richet. I do not know what he's done on that final lap. He's done a good job though. Tony Richet carries a lot more speed already. Gets past. Max Grosspointer as well, getting overtaken, or sorry, getting past. Oh, there goes Lighty in the background. What on earth has happened there? He came together. Justin Arts involved. Not sure if Jeslar was in there as well. A nightmare then for the FER driver. Not sure which driver got into the side of the Williams. Not sure which driver was at fault. That is terrible. He was fighting for the win. Now he's got front wing damage and his teammate right behind. What is Marvin gonna do? Oh, dearie me. Poor exit out of the corner as well. Lighty's race might have been thrown down the drain. And ZNT will lead 1 and 2 for now. Tony Richet coming out behind Dallin McTeer, who's yet to stop. There goes Max Grosspointer on Alexi Cavero, who yields and lets him past. Tim Turnimo close behind as well. There goes Dallin McTeer for his pit stop. Same for Hugo van Bon. And ZNT reclaim their first and second place. But how are they going to do this? They're 2.4 seconds apart. Tony Richet now 2.8 behind Tristan. Max Grosspointer right behind his own teammate. Are they going to swap positions? Alexi Cavero still putting on the pressure on the Austrian. Is he going to go for a move in turn 5? Not yet. And the fight for the win has now, for now at least, gone to Jeremy Gallagnier. But he's got a time penalty, crucially. Let's see what that time penalty is. 3 seconds. That's a nightmare for Jeremy. An absolute worst case scenario for the team and the driver. And at the moment, TF10 then could have it in the bag. A comeback from last week, which was an absolute disaster for them, to put it mildly. Let's see who else got some penalties. Herman has got a 3-second penalty. Marvin Golm, Richard Koenig, Dallin McTeer and James as well. There's the position swap between the TF10 drivers. 2.6 seconds sets them apart from ZNT driver Tristan Derbecourt. There he is, 2 seconds now apart from Jeremy Gallagnier. The gap has been shrinking now. Maybe Jeremy is slowing down slightly to get him into the slipstream. He's going to need it. They're going to have to work together with Max now with the fastest lap of the race. Approaching very fast. Jeremy cannot win this race at the moment. He can't get away anymore. So I think the wisest thing for him to do is help out his own teammate. Right now, he's not doing that. Wouldn't be surprised if it's going to happen sooner or later. They are on much older hard tires, and those mediums are still a lot faster at the moment. Especially through the corners, you'll see the gap shrinking quickly. 2.0, 1.9. Back up to 2.0. Almost 1.8 right there. There we go. Jeremy Gallagher still leading from Tristan Derbicourt, Max Gross Pointing, Tony Richet and Alexi Cavero, the top 5. But there's still 8 drivers within a shot for the win, all the way down to Herman Polyakov, who also got a 3-second time penalty. So he, alongside Jeremy, is the most unlikely to win the race tonight. Unless, of course, everybody else in between them gets a 3-second time penalty too. Which I do not see happening for now. Marvin Golan is still going on those hard tires. He's making them last very long. Not sure why he is going so long, actually. A position swap between the TF10 drivers again. However, interestingly, the gap doesn't decrease. Tristan is holding his own quite well. There's no other way of putting it. And at the moment, Jeremy is quite safe from losing 3rd place. He will not gain the win, but it doesn't really matter for him because his teammates will inherit that win. Tony Richet, 3.8 seconds at the moment behind Jeremy Gallagher. They're going to have to put the power down fast with lap 19 now. And now the gap is suddenly shrinking fast. 1.7. It seems like Tony is sliding a lot through those corners. I might be mistaken, might be our point of view, but Tony Richet at least. Through those corners, his Red Bull is looking very unhappy. And Max Grosspointer is now knocking on his teammate's door. They're probably going to swap positions again. In fact, Alexi Cavero could potentially pose a threat to the cooperative Red Bulls. The gap back up to 1.8 seconds. There comes Alexi Cavero. Is he going to split the Red Bulls? At least for now, he's going in the middle of the both of them. There he goes. Overtaking Tony Richet. Can he do the same with Max? No, he can't. And then he splits them. That could be very important for the Ferraris with this Mercedes, who of course also has his own agenda for the championship. Trying to gain the points there with Justin being involved in an incident and potentially having damage to the car. He definitely can't keep up anymore. We've got a yellow flag. It's Marvin going very slow. Oh my goodness, what's happened there? Does he have a puncture? No, he hasn't. Marvin then, out of turn 16, having an accident and finally decided to pit. That's about time. And Max is starting to put on the pressure for real now. Tristan Derbicourt is starting to come under threat. And he's still very much alone as Jeremy tries to drive away. There could be another tactic, of course. Tristan holding them all up, allowing Jeremy to get away. And Max already within DRS range, though. Marvin Golm going for the soft tires. James going for the mediums. And look at TGF. They are 13th and 11th. Many points against their rivals tonight. And retaking 9th place in the standings for sure, if they finish like this. Now the fun begins, maybe, says Maximilian Luckert in the chat. And you could be absolutely right. Max is getting closer. He's got Alexi in tow. Tony Richet has fallen behind a little bit. He finds himself with Jeslar in the rear view mirrors. Another yellow flag. James had a bit of a moment in turn 5. He's on his way again. What's Tristan's strategy? What's ZNT's strategy? Do they have race engineers, I wonder? Are they being counseled, being guided, being advised on what to do against this looming threat? In fact, Max is probably going to try and take the position right now. He's going to have to go around the outside, though. Is he going to do it? Tristan has yielded. He's not going to go aggressive for now. At least he's going to have the benefit of DRS at the next straight. But he's going to have to keep up with Max, because Max appears to be going really quick now. Took him a little while to get underway, but there he is, on top of the pace. 2 seconds to Jeremy, which is more than enough to take the win for TF10. Unless Tristan's got something to say about it, but he's got to do it quick. His tires not as fast at the moment as Max's. In a few laps time though, they might be equal. And Alexi Cavero, don't count him out either, as Tony Richet struggles more and more. We have a yellow flag as the other EV driver retires as well. Nightmare then for the Sauber team. Both drivers out. Several position swaps happening. Alexi Cavero now getting ahead of Max Grosspointer. This fight for second place nearly goes wrong right there. I was about to say is crucial for Jeremy Gallagher. And it nearly went horribly wrong. What are they going to do? Max Grosspointer on the inside in the final corner. There comes Tristan Derbecourt as well. Absolutely right on the sentence. This is where the fun begins, but it has begun, that's for sure. Max Grosspointer remains ahead for now. We might get a yellow flag for the slow-going AI of James right there. 2.2 seconds now between Max and Jeremy. The gap has increased again by about half a second for the last few laps. Jeremy has to put the power down hard with 3.5 laps to go. He still has a little chance of winning it. Taking it from Max Grosspointer for TF10. Alexi Cavero for FVR is still trying to make the most of it for his team. In terms of points, TF10 have got it better. But there is still this man who could make it slightly worse for them. Now the gap back down to under 2 seconds for Max, but there comes Alexi Cavero. And Jeremy will have his fingers crossed that they're going to fight hard, and Tristan might thus just be the trick to do that. Here he comes, 3 wide potentially into turn 14, and there goes Tristan Derbecourt, doing all in his power to help his teammate, and look at the gap increasing, 2.6 seconds right there. Going back to the inside, defensive straight away. His mission has become very clear indeed. And that is to help his teammate to victory, making his Ferrari as wide as the track is. And doing an extraordinary job now, holding it up through the corner. On the limit of what can and can't be done. And Max will probably be frustrated, as are Alexi, Jeslar and Tony Richet as well. Here he goes, Max, where does he want to go? The outside or the inside? And Tristan is having absolutely none of it. Nearly Max Grosspointer goes into the wall. The gap now more than 3 seconds, and there goes the Red Bull once again ahead. But that is crucially allowing Tristan to get DRS once more as the next straight happens. 3.0 seconds now. Normally the fight for the lead would be inches between cars, and now it's going to be about milliseconds. You would nearly forget the P1, 3 seconds. Yes, he does have it, and that is why Tristan is fighting so immensely hard. Yet as far as I can see, it's quite fair. No big, bold or dangerous move so far. It's just feisty defending. Alexi is probably enjoying this immensely as well. He knows ZNT could take the win here. Whoa, my goodness, nearly went horribly wrong between himself and Max though. What's going to happen here then? It's actually Alexi going on the attack, not successfully doing it, and Tristan remains second. 3.5 seconds now, 3.6 as we approach lap 24. And everything seems to be falling in place for Jeremy Gallagher as he gets away. You saw him there going through turn 1. And there comes Alexi Cavero. He might actually be in on this mission to hold off TF10 from the win. He doesn't care anymore. Alexi Cavero getting ahead of the Ferrari up into second place. And Tristan knows that this is exactly what he wants. There comes Max Grosspointer, probably fuming behind the wheel right now. And Gislar having a good time in his McLaren, as he hasn't got much to lose there. And he could suddenly find himself in second place if everything goes horribly wrong. From last place to P5, you cannot ignore the man in the McLaren, because he's done a stellar job. All of a sudden he finds himself in a fight for second place. 4 seconds now between P1 and 2. Jeremy is a second clear. It's absolutely wild. Tristan there, Bicourt, even going on the offensive in turn 12. Less than a tenth behind he was for a moment there. And now he's going to go on the attack again. He doesn't care about his tires. He doesn't care about his race result. As long as Jeremy wins the race, that's a lot of points for the team. There he goes, up into third place. Is he going to try and take second place to cause even more mayhem? No, he doesn't. This time, he's going to try potentially secure his own position because he knows that 1.5 seconds can no longer be closed within the final lap of the race. The only thing that could spoil it for Jeremy Gallagher is a mistake by his own. There comes Alexi Cavero and Max Gross Pointer, Tristan Debecourt. They're all going side by side in turn 1. And now they're going to battle it out for second place. Jeslar and Tony Richet patiently waiting behind. They're all watching it happening. Tony and Jeslar are just enjoying the show. I wonder if this is the moment where the McLaren is going to seize the opportunity, but he knows that from 19th to 5th already is quite the victory. There comes Tony Richet to take the 5th position from him, though. Tony is going to go aggressive now. He knows TF10 can no longer take the victory, and that means scoring as many points as possible. It's also allowing Justin Arts to close the gap. He's in 7th. But it's a bit too far behind. 1.7 seconds. I'm afraid that's not enough. 5.1 seconds now to the lead of the race from Alexi Cavero. It has been sealed then by Tristan, playing a crucial role for his own teammate. He's done all he can to slow them down as much as possible, and now the fight for second place is happening for real. Alexi Cavero has to defend without DRS, which is going to be a tough job indeed. But now he's going equally as fast with all the battery. Is he going to go defensive? No, he can't. There's no choice for him. And that means Max is going to come home second. But this man has been given a victory by his own teammate as Jeremy Gallagher crosses the line to win in Las Vegas. Absolutely extraordinary. Max comes home in second, Alexi for FVR in third, and Tristan makes it a 4th place for ZNT. A load of points. Jeslar finishes P5, Tony Richet in P6. Justin Arts has crashed into the wall in 7th, just over the line, with Hugo von Bonn in P8, Tim Tornimo in 9th, and Herman Polyakov in P10. Not the day NLR were after, especially not for those who predicted their victory in the chat. As Elku, probably I think a season best for TGF, in 11th. P12 then for Lighty after his nightmare collision with Justin Arts, or somebody who was close there, I'm not entirely sure yet. And more points for TGF with Abdullah Balaik in P13. Richard Koenig scoring a little bit of points for ABS. Daniel McTeer finishes off a terrible night for ET8, scoring the only point for the team. Then Marvin Golm in P16 and McKender in the last position. Wow. I think it's the best, yes, Domizzi. The best result of the season so far for TGF. P11. Think so. Not 100% sure, but I think it is. I haven't seen them that high yet. ETA unlucky indeed. They'll want to forget this race ASAP. Tim Tornimo is absolutely flabbergasted by the fact that he lost so much time on the straight, it appears. As he says in the Discord. It doesn't make sense, he says. So, results for now. Jeremy Gallagher first. Thanks to his teammates. They'll be celebrating big time in the team there, I'm sure. Max Rosepointer scoring a lot of points for TF10. Closing the gap a little bit. Alexi Cavero, damage limitation for FVR. Then Tristan Debecourt trying to get the other podium for the team, but finishing in 4th. Still good result for them, though. Another contender for driver of the day, though, is Jeslar in P5 from last place. Incredible job. Tony Richet, P6, Hugo von Bonn, 7th, Tim Tornimo then in P8, Herman Polyakov in P9, and Elku actually should be 11th because Justin Arts finished 7th. That means Hugo von Bonn 8th, Tim Tornimo 9th, Polyakov 10, Elku in 11th, 12th for Lighty, 13th for Abdullah Balaik, 14th for Richard Koenig, Della McTeer P15, Marvin Golm P16, McKender 17th, and then the non-finishers, both EVE drivers of James and Jividar. Wow. That was some race, wasn't it? Let's see if the, especially the winner, has something to say about it, because I would like to hear what he has to say about it. I've tagged them now, and if I can finish my sentence properly, we might even be able to send it in the Discord. Just did. Excellent. Let me actually link the waiting room. Also, a useful thing to do. Man, oh man, oh man. What a race that was. Looks like a lot of you people enjoyed it. A lot of viewers tonight. Jeremy saying my English is bad. That's unfortunate. Would absolutely loved to hear from the strategy of the team. Whether it is true what we think happened for ZNT with Tristan just sending it everywhere as much as possible. And that's the beauty of series like this. Instead of individual championships, you see a team championship always works differently. You see drivers sacrificing their own race to benefit their team as much as possible. And I think this result was one of the best ZNT could have wished for. It almost looked like they were going to lose the lead to at least Max. It didn't happen. Because there was Tristan Debecourt just throwing his Ferrari in every corner possible. Without it being actually dirty. Because as far as I could see, those moves were as clean as they could have been. And you can commend him for that. It's a job well done. I think there's no denying that. Just waiting a little bit longer to see if anybody's going to join. But it looks like we're going to be without interviews tonight. And that's a shame. It's a big shame. Would have loved to have heard from any of the drivers. Also like to have heard from Alexi. Whether he saw what the strategy was going to be from ZNT. Actually, Alexi has just asked me where. I just linked him it again. There we go. We're actually going to hear from Alexi Cavero. There he is. Third position. Was that damage limitation for the team? Could it have been better? Or what's your point of view on the result? Mm-hmm.
Only one position behind is really key. So yeah, important result.
Forced,
Yeah.
we can't hear him.
Yeah, I can't. I just saw that I can't hear it. Not sure what's going on with Discord. It's kind of annoying that he doesn't want to. I think it should work now.
Yeah, hello. You hear me now?
Yes, somewhat, but now I can actually hear you on my speakers instead of my headset. So let's try it again. Test 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Yes, it works. All right. So
Okay.
a short summary of what you just said, please.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely like damage limitation. We didn't have the best like drivers available for this race, so managing to deny TF10 of the victory here, and then only finishing one position behind was really key. So yeah, really well managed race, and I'm really happy with the result.
Yeah, I was about to ask, did you see ZNT's strategy there, trying to get Jeremy as far away as possible?
Yeah, it was really obvious with his penalty. Where I forgot the name of the guy behind him, his teammate, but
Tristan,
he was like
Tristan,
really slowing. Yeah, he was really slowing down, like trying to slow the train down, and he succeeded in that. So we took great advantage, I'd say. So yeah, that was nice.
So all in all, a good race then for the team, considering the circumstances?
Yes. Considering the circumstances, really happy with the result.
All right. Well, cheers for giving us a bit of insight on the race, and well done in your third position.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. All right. Well, that actually, I'm not sure why Discord is having so many fight with OBS on whether it wants to be heard or not. In fact, now that Alexi has left the channel, Discord has decided to not record my mic anymore. I've got no clue why this is such an issue all of a sudden. So I apologize about that one. Thankfully, you've heard from Alexi either way. Optimal results for the team, it seems. Maybe Justin could have finished a bit higher hadn't he been involved potentially in the collision. I'm still not sure what happened there. Probably we might see an FIA investigation reported by Lighty or somebody close by. Nonetheless, it's been an extraordinary race. A lot cleaner than Qatar, that's for sure. TF10 closing the gap a little bit to FVR, with Max in second and Tony in sixth, as opposed to Alexi in third and Justin in P9. Or 7, I should say. It was actually 7th, so not that bad either way. A little bit of a points closure then from TF10. But look at this. They've got 3 more rounds to close that gap. With the Mystery Grand Prix happening next week, I've got no clue which one it's going to be. As a commentator, I do not know it. Then, of course, Hungary, or as the Canada likes to say, Hungary. And then finishing off the season in style in Japan. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And next week, we'll see which race it's going to be. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Until next time, same place, same time as usual. Until then, goodbye.